Andy Byron, REVEALS, he's broke after wife's divorce following Coldplay kiss cam scandal. That single shocking sentence ripped across headlines like wildfire, burning through gossip columns, social media feeds, and whispered conversations in the elite circles where Andy Byron once stood untouchable. It is the kind of fall from grace you usually only see scripted in movies, but this was real, raw, and painfully public. A man who lived his life surrounded by wealth, fame, and luxury, suddenly stripped bare by betrayal, humiliation, and a divorce that shook not just his bank account, but the very identity he had carefully built. Andy Byron was never just another rich name in the headlines. For years, he was a figure of charm and influence, a businessman who moved like royalty in five-star hotels, luxury yachts, and private jets. He had the kind of life that made Instagram envy burn bright, but in the blink of a moment, it all began to unravel. The Coldplay kiss cam scandal didn't just expose a private wound. It turned him into a global meme, an online punchline, and ultimately a broken man confessing that he's broke after his wife's divorce. The scene played out in a stadium packed with tens of thousands. Coldplay's music soared through the night air, and the giant kiss cam circled the crowd, capturing couples caught in the spotlight. The camera found Andy Byron and his wife. What should have been a romantic, light-hearted moment turned into a public disaster. She turned away from him, leaned in, and kissed someone else. The crowd gasped, then laughed, then pulled out phones. In seconds, the clip was everywhere: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram Reels. Hashtags exploded. Coldplay kiss cam, divorce goals, poor Andy. What started as a joke became a humiliation that money couldn't bury. For days, the internet feasted. Memes showed Andy sitting frozen, the camera zoomed in on his stunned face. Edits added Coldplay lyrics like "Nobody said it was easy" as captions mocking his heartbreak. His once carefully guarded private life was ripped open, and behind those viral clips the reality was even harsher. His wife wasn't just embarrassed, she was done. Lawyers were called. Papers were filed. Within weeks, Andy Byron's wife's divorce became official, and she walked away with a fortune. What made the blow even crueler was the contrast between the life he had before and the emptiness after. Andy Byron's world was built on excess. Sprawling mansions with golden chandeliers, champagne that cost more than some people's cars, weekends in Monaco, summers on Mediterranean waters. He was photographed in designer suits, his wrist heavy with watches worth millions. He lived the kind of life where wealth wasn't just comfort, it was identity. But as the divorce cut through his assets, it revealed a shocking truth. Andy Byron was not as secure as everyone thought. When he revealed publicly that he's broke, it wasn't just an admission of lost money. It was the end of an illusion. He had poured everything into maintaining a lifestyle for appearances, for status, for a marriage that looked like a fairy tale but was apparently cracking long before the Coldplay kiss cam scandal. Luxury homes weren't fully owned, they were leveraged. Cars were leased under companies. Investments were shaky. His wife's divorce pulled the rug out, exposing that Andy Byron was living closer to the edge than the glossy pictures suggested. Fans couldn't look away. Some pitied him, comparing him to tragic figures in celebrity history. Others mocked him, turning his confession into viral audio. Andy Byron reveals he's broke became a trending sound on TikTok, used ironically by creators showing themselves broke after buying iced coffee or concert tickets. The internet never misses a chance to remix misery into entertainment. And yet, beneath the noise, there was a real man spiraling in the ruins of his former empire. What makes this story so cinematic is the collision of worlds, the glittering stage of a Coldplay concert, the romance of wealth, the betrayal of marriage, and the brutal transparency of the internet age. Andy Byron wasn't just betrayed by his wife. He was betrayed by the culture of virality that took his lowest moment and made it infinite. In another era, this might have been a headline for a week. In this era, it is a meme that will live forever. Friends close to Andy described the aftermath as both heartbreaking and surreal. He would scroll endlessly, seeing his own face looped over and over, mocked by strangers across the globe. He tried to drown it in parties, in fast cars, and distractions. But those distractions were slipping away one by one. The divorce settlement carved deep into his wealth. Properties were sold off. Accounts frozen. He was forced to admit to friends, and then to the public, that the man who once flaunted riches was now counting losses. Andy Byron reveals he's broke after wife's divorce following the Coldplay Kiss Cam scandal. The line repeated like a tragic chorus across gossip sites. Halfway through this whirlwind, it's worth pausing to return to that brutal hook. Andy Byron reveals he's broke after wife's divorce following Coldplay Kiss Cam scandal. Because that is the core of this saga, a man who had everything, undone in the span of a kiss, a scandal, and a divorce that carved his fortune apart. The drama is Shakespearean, the imagery unforgettable. Stadium lights glaring, music soaring, a kiss that killed a marriage, and cameras capturing every angle for eternity. And let's not pretend this was just about love lost. In the world Andy Byron lived in, relationships are currency, image is wealth, and betrayal has a price tag. His wife didn't just leave, she left with power. She walked away from the scandal not as the mocked figure but as the victor, legally entitled to pieces of his empire. In celebrity gossip forums, she was even celebrated, praised for reclaiming her dignity in a single televised kiss. Meanwhile, Andy faced the ruin of both reputation and riches. The scandal became bigger than Andy himself. Late-night hosts joked about it. Coldplay fans debated if the band should have intervened. Social media spun wild theories. Was the marriage already dead? Was the kiss staged? Was Andy Byron's broke confession a sympathy ploy? Every layer of the story added more fuel to the fire. But through it all, one truth remained. A man once untouchable was now exposed, fragile, and publicly stripped of the wealth and love that defined him. Imagine the silence after the noise. The stadium emptied, the memes faded from trending, but Andy sat alone in a home that no longer felt like his. The chandeliers didn't shine the same. The champagne had no taste. The world had watched him fall, and there was no hiding. Wealth can build walls, but scandal breaks them faster than any wrecking ball. In the aftermath, Andy Byron began to resemble less a Playboy prince and more a cautionary tale. And yet, stories like this grip us because they mix tragedy with spectacle. They remind us that beneath the tailored suits and glittering stages, even the wealthiest can be shattered by betrayal. Andy Byron's saga has all the ingredients of modern mythology: love, scandal, wealth, downfall, memes, and confession. He isn't just another tabloid headline. He is a mirror reflecting how our culture feeds on public pain, how we elevate the fall as much as the rise. Now the question lingers: what comes next for Andy Byron? Will he rebuild, reinvent, and return to the stage of wealth and luxury? Or will he fade into the shadows, remembered only as the man who lost it all in front of the Coldplay Kiss Cam? History is littered with figures who turned their scandals into comebacks. But for now, Andy's story is paused on the moment of loss, the taste of betrayal, the shock of being broke.